I'd like to say thanks to the Department of Theater and Dance at Santa Clara University, David Popoliski, Chair, for opening this space to a raw beginner and notorious loose cannon. Thanks to Bob Steiner for working with the lights and the sound, the videographers Preston Young. I'd like to thank Jefferson Dela Cruz and Ruth Pangilinan in particular for publicizing the event. I think I got pretty much everything. I was a teacher for 47 years, and I'm about to retire. And certain realizations came to me, and some of those have led to my performing the way I am. One is that teaching as a vocation is full of paradox and contradiction. And I'm going to mention 4 of those now, and later I'll talk about them more if anyone is interested. The first is that teaching is both the most public and the most private of occupations. Now, the public part is more obvious, that we see teachers in front of classrooms. We know teachers interact more or less formally all day long with teaching colleagues and students and staff and administrators. But appreciate as well the power of the closed classroom door, which shields teaching from the gaze of everyone but the students there in the classroom. Now, provisional teachers are regularly observed and visited. Past that, though, any intrusions in classroom space, they tend to be voluntary, where the teacher asks someone to come in. And so tonight, as I perform the in-class sketches, I invite you to indulge in a kind of voyeurism, a wickedly delightful watching in the dark of the normally hidden. Next, teaching allows for the full play of both humble altruistic service and vainglorious wanton cruelty. And I think in that regard, it's only police work that matches teaching. Next, teaching, students know good teaching and bad teaching in their bones. And yet, our present methods of evaluating teaching objectively and empirically are woefully inadequate. And finally, if we look at large demographic samples, SAT data, we may come to see the outcomes of education as sociologically predetermined, leaving no room for the individual teacher to matter at all. But if we ask individual people, they all have stories about how a particular teacher made all the difference in the world to their lives, for good and for worse. And so, having just sketched that terrain, I will now bathe it in the harsh wintry light of satire. Many in here, I think, will laugh and smile in recognition. And others, I expect, may find it too offensive and be a little upset by that. How dare you be so mean? How dare you be so low and vulgar and mock people so. And the only answer is, I think, I dare to do that because inoffensive satire is useless. and almost a contradiction in terms. And so I press forward. I will say, this was first said, I think, by the satirist Juvenal about 1900 years ago, that all the nastiness, all the lampooning, the nasty, all of this is in the service of a higher goal, namely identifying and castigating professional malfeasance. And here's the hard part. Far be it from me to actually enjoy lampooning and mocking colleagues. Far be it from me to enjoy that. And if you believe that, I have a lovely patch of Florida swampland for you to consider as an investment opportunity. So thank you. Scene 1, Boston Latin School. That is Boston Boys Public Latin School. Spring 1959, 8th grade English class. As we enter Mad Frank's classroom, we see 3 sentences on the board for us to diagram. To our daily dismay, the sentences are so long and complicated and complex and convoluted as to be totally resistant to diagramming. Cannot be done. Mad Frank is quite old, but his powers of instruction and intimidation are undiminished. Long career, he has never cared to learn a single student's name. If you sit in the first row, 3rd seat, you are 13. 3rd row, 5th seat, you are 35. In that season, I was 64. This is over 55 years ago, and I haven't gotten over it yet. What are you staring at, 62? Just find the subject and main verb. Is the main verb transitive, intransitive, or linking? It all follows from that. Go ahead. Hey, sip it, 23! You of all people should be paying the closest attention here. Do you catch my drift? Good. Verbum sap sap, 23. A word to the wise is sufficient. Now, what are you saying? You're saying that's a participle. That's not a participle. You let the ing in there for you. Try again. See how it's being used in the sentence. No! It's not a verb. It's a verbal. It's made from a verb. But see how it's being used in the sentence. No! It's not an adjective. A verbal adjective. That's a participle 62, and that's where we started this moronic go-round. Sit down, 62. What are you wasting our time here for? Let me see what you made on the last test. Perfect. A 40. You made a 40 on the last test. You make another 40 next Friday. You failed this class. You flunk out of this school, and we are done with you. Good riddance. This school depends on dismissing those unfit for success here, whose continuing presence can only lower the level of the classroom and besmirch the hallowed name of Boston Latin School. It will be a great service to this school, and thus my great personal delight to send you back the minute you show me you do not belong here. And one more thing, 62. I don't want to hear another word out of your mouth about how you're an immigrant and no one in your family speaks English. How dare you blame your own shortcomings on your family? These are the people who love you the most, who sacrifice so much to come here so you could get an excellent education and go on to a meaningful career. 62, you disgust me. Listen good now. If on your final examination you have one mistake between a participle and a gerund, I will flunk you. And I do not care what your previous grades have been. If you have one comma mistake, one apostrophe mistake, I will flunk you. If you have one fragment, one runner, I will flunk you. You will then have 2 options. You may either leave this school and go to your district high school with all the other local losers and neighborhood nincompoops and give up any hope you may have been harboring about ever going to a 4-year college or university and making something of your life. Or you will return here and repeat 8th grade English with me. And I warn you, I'm getting meaner education every year with the dross they are sending. Unlike you, I have pride and I have standards. No ninth grade teacher at this school is going to be horrified by the ignorance of his students. Ask who the hell was your 8th grade English teacher and hear my name so impugned. Well, 1950s education aimed unabashedly at fitting students into society as they was. 60s education after the Revolution aimed unabashedly at transforming society into what it should be. The battle was fought on many, many fronts. Thinking student-centered learning, ethnic studies classes, women's studies classes, greater concern for student self-esteem, electives replacing requirements, history told from different points of view, and the Euro-American canon of literature. Now, this movement started in blue state strongholds, Boston and New York City and Northern California. And slowly it spread, though, into America's red state hinterlands, like rural Alabama. And it was carried there in the main by young teachers who'd gone off to college somewhere else and returned to put before their students a heady mix of political oppositionality, social radicalism, and a countercultural lifestyle. Inevitably, these young progressive teachers who faced criticism and hostility from intractable students and their parents. Scene 2, Maplesville High School, Maplesville, Alabama, is the first day of school of the 1979-1980 school year. I forgot my costume change. This is advanced stagecraft. Come on, settle down. Settle down. I know you're all happy to see each other, but come on, we only have a half-day schedule, and I have a lot to tell you, because I know my class never meets my students' expectations and their parents' expectations. So I'm going to get up in front of you today and go through my procedures and the philosophy behind it. And this is the only time all year I'll be in front of you like this talking. Starting tomorrow, this is just a writer's workshop. I'm just in the class as a resource person. Now, for the first thing, I don't want you to call me by the name that's on your schedule, Mr. Tuttle. I want you to call me Mike or Mikey, or you can call me by my rave name, my hippie commune name, Moondog, or the Moondog, you can call me. And I do this to indicate that there's never hierarchy in my class. There's never social inequality of any kind. Like I'm the leader and you're my followers. I'm the boss and you're my workers. Nothing like that. See, I do not give writing assignments at all. There really is no, I guess, syllabus in the class. I have no curriculum, and I do not instruct at all. I think instruction is fascist. I do not give assignments or exercises because please be quiet there, you, and please pay attention. And you, please settle down. And you in back, what's your name, son? Randy? And young lady, what's your name, please? Crystal?
The Board of Education has seen fit to give each student his or her own seat in this class. Of course, there's no need to be sitting in his lap. I know you're happy to see each other, but please sit in your own chair and face forward. It's only this day that you're be set up like this. I was saying slow. Oh! Yes, starting tomorrow. You just don't come and do the writing you want or anything else you want. I do not motivate out of fear. I do not try to enforce conformity or repress you in any way. So you come in and do any kind of writing you want. You can write by yourself or write collaboratively. You can use any genre of literature you want. You can write in a journal and never show it to anybody. You can use English or any other language you might want to write in. Use any dialect. Use any curse words you want, anything. It's more important to me that you be honest and authentic than it is to be competent. Competence to me means only that you will be a better servant of the ruling class. You know, you're used to being productive and doing what Marx called alienated labor. And so I'm not interested in that. You know, I used to teach that way, and then I just, no, I'm not going to teach that way. Excuse me, is there a question back there? What's your name, son? Travis? Okay. What's your question, Travis? You want to know if I don't assign any work and I don't prepare a class at all, it's like I don't do any work at all. Is that what you're saying? You think I'm sort of a slacker? Is that it? Well, I'll tell you, Travis, you know, you don't see this necessarily, but it does take a lot of work to set up a liberatory environment wherein you can explore and discover for yourself. You know, that's the only valuable kind of learning is private, personal learning like that. And I set that up for you. And also, if anyone does write something that they'd like to show me, I will read it. And I will read it either as just me, the moondog, as a person, or if you ask me, I will play the role of a judgmental English teacher or a boss or something like that. I'll help you that way. So I'm not a slacker. And it leads me to that. Well, I think that the most important developmental task that you all face is gaining perspective, gaining distance from your upbringing, so that then you can see what fits right for you. You know, and if you decide that you want to live the way your parents have raised you, that's fine with me. But I think that critical distance is important. That's what we use. And I want to tell you, there are better and worse ways of attaining distance, critical thinking distance from your upbringing. Can you think of some good ways to do that? What's one good way for someone your age to gain critical distance from your upbringing? Yes, back. Travel. That's a very good one. So you travel and see how other people live. That there's not just one way to live. Yes, do you have another one? Reading. Yeah, read. That's a very good. Read about other people. I like that. One more hint, yes. Writing. That's good. Free writing is very good for that. Where you just kind of let it go, let it go. These are all very good ways. I'm very glad you brought them up. Now, I want to tell you there are bad ways as well. I'll be frank with you, I found some really bad ways to gain critical distance from my upbringing. And, for example, I went out for my master's degree in education. I went all the way to Berkeley, California, and got my master's in education at the university there. While I was there, I lived in a communal household with a lot of very interesting people, including two chemists. They were getting PhDs, both of them, in polymer chemistry. But as a sideline, they mixed up batches of LSD, which is a psychedelic drug. Well, somehow, I volunteered to be the tester. And in that capacity, I tested out a lot of really good LSD. Now, sadly for me, they mixed up a lot of really bad LSD as well, and I lost a good bit of my frontal lobe. And in that capacity, I lost a good bit of my cognitive capacity, unfortunately. The famous British poet William Blake very famously wrote, "The road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom." But I found when your head is spinning about 8 miles high and you're hallucinating about goddamn bats, you can't even see that road, much less the damn palace of wisdom. So kids, don't do that, please. Travis, do you have another question there? Oh, you're thinking that no one's going to write. You know, if we're not going to get rewarded for writing at all, why would anybody write? There's no grades in this class. You're absolutely, well, I think you're wrong, Travis, but about people not writing. But the thing is, I'd rather that you weren't productive than keep writing dishonest, inauthentic garbage. I don't want to read any of that. So it's better to be honestly ignorant than dishonestly, inauthentically erudite. I'm not in this business of training you to get further ahead in the rat race. I'm telling you, get out of the rat race for a while and see how you really want to live. But now, Travis, I think you're right. I think a number of people here will really write a lot. Now, I've seen Davey there. I know Davey from the literary magazine. I'm the advisor to the literary magazine, Leaves of Grass. And Davey, you're going to write a lot in this class. You know, time to write is precious. And you write poetry. And who else? Oh, that's Caitlin. I know Caitlin as well. You're going to do writing here as well, aren't you? And who else? What's your name, young lady? Barbara? And Barbara, are you going to do the kind of writing where it's just free writing in your journal so that you kind of see what your authentic voice is? No, I'm not going to write like that. Well, are you going to do the kind of writing then where you explore attaining distance from your upbringing and get critical thinking? No, I'm not going to write like that either. Well, then, what are you going to do? What kind of writing do you want to do? I want to learn to write good essays so I'll get good grades in here and get into the college of my choice. Well, what is the college of your choice? Duke. I want to go to Duke because my daddy went there. He's a prominent attorney in town. And I want to go to Duke and then to Georgetown Law School where he went, so I could become a prominent attorney like he is. Well, I guess that's a really good ambition. Well, I am an ambitious person. I don't want to just hang around this old town and do nothing with my life like the redneck trash in this room like that Crystal and Travis that way. Hey, Chrissy Finch! What the hell are you doing calling me redneck? Well, you are, and I'm a good Baptist girl. I don't want to hear any language like that. There are other good Baptist children in this class. Well, screw them too and the horses they rode in. You can't talk to her like that. Oh, yes, I can. Well, up here, go get him up, buddy. And then, well, Mr. Tuttle, please stop them. Please stop them. Well, I really can't do that. I don't believe in censorship. Mr. Tuttle, if you don't stop them, I'm going to get my daddy to get me out of this class. Well, Barbara, I don't know about that. People try to get out of my classes a lot, and the principals, we're kind of wed together. Then I'm going to get my daddy to get you fired. Well, I don't think that's going to happen either, dear. You see, the old moondog has tenure. Don't even bother. all costume changing. Gosh, the advanced.
I have to take this whole series of classes to get this down. All right. Since 1975 or so, the most important intellectual current in American higher education has been the rise of theory, and it has been a disaster. Far from being just a colossal waste of time, theory is an ugly, oozing separation. August 2014, a large lecture hall at a large state university with a direction in its title: Central Florida,
Central Michigan, Northern Iowa, Northern Arizona. It is the opening of a 2-day workshop for the 175 teachers are from remedial English at the school. All of them graduate students and part-time lecturers, except for the one professor of composition at the school, the writing program administrator, the WPA, in charge of this whole boondoggle. Now, the keynote speaker for the event is a star brought in for the occasion, a well-regarded, very well-published composition theorist, an occupation of roughly the same legitimacy as soothsayer, televangelist, or Republican congressman. Well, thank you so much, Professor Jensen, for that very kind introduction. And let me say first what an honor and delight and privilege it is for me to be here today, addressing such an excellent teaching staff at this great university. And I am such a liar. I mean, this dump is higher education, like Chuck E. Cheese is fine dining. But hey, they're paying me $3,000 to come down here on like a Tuesday. I'll be back in civilization by dinner time. How could I say no? Now, I'll give you a secret. The way to succeed at a gig like this is just to establish a distance between yourself and the local yokels, the rubes, right away. So catch this opening salvo. Since liberation from ideological hermeneutics must precede any relationality of being, counter-hegemony can only be derived from an ontology of nature. When vitalistic potentiality is realized as neologistic nomadology, students' composing bodies become queer, disabled bodies, leading us to a dialectic of contact zone liminality through an infinite series of discrete, hypermediated Butlerian actualizations. The neo-Hegelian overtones here should lead us to the realm. You see, I win if nobody jumps up and screams, "Fraud! Charlatan!" at the top of their lungs and leads a mass walkout. As well they might. Did you hear what I said? I believe I said neologistic nomadology. How do I come up with these? And I think I said ideological hermeneutics. I was speaking at another dump like this last weekend, it was Saturday, and I believe there I said hermeneutical ideology. Ideological hermeneutics, hermeneutical ideology, what's the difference? It's just for the distance, you know. And I see most of the people here are really liking this, you know. They're appropriately familial, just smiling. And like, for instance, have you noticed the very attractive redhead right here in front of me? The young redhead with the brown leggings on. She's just smiling. She's having a great time. And looking at me like adoringly. But there's others, like most notably the guy in back there with the big beard, the blue denim work shirt. He's just hating this. He's scowling at me, he's staring daggers. And I know he'd love to say something, but he can't afford to. If he's a graduate student, he needs the fellowship stipend. If he's a lecturer, he needs the pittance of salary. He's got mouths to feed. So he can't say a word. None of them can say anything. The poor schmucks. 4 to an office, one crappy old computer between them, no benefits, no chance of advancement, no professional development. 4 sections, 5 sections, horrible remedial writing student. Oh, yeah. But better them than me. This is for you, big guy. At the border crossing of the praxeological intelligibility of the teleological overtones is the transcription of the logoarchy that intertwines the onto-theological foundations of metaphysical language. Total hyper-rhetorical presence thus breaks on the univocal predication of the exterior absolute, while the equivocal predication of even the outside of the absolute exterior is possible only when the reality so predicated is in reality not reality. And so the neo-Kantian overtones here should lead us to this. Do you see how many of them are taking notes? I find that so gratifying and so amusing that later they're going to be reading over the scribbled gibberish and making sense of it. And you know what it reminds me of? I hate to say this, but it reminds me of worship services in like Latin and Hebrew, where nobody in the audience understands a word of Latin or Hebrew. How different is it really? It's like, Benedict Domine nobis Adonis quadritur lagatatus sumpturi, Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yisir nivra. The neo-Cartesian epistemological metonymus, uber historicism. You know, it sounds very similar to me. And all the uncomprehending flocks cherish every indecipherable word, and they bestow so much honor and so many riches upon us. Like while these hardy altruists are spending every weekday evening and almost every weekend doing nothing but grading one horrible tome after another. I mean, barely semi-literate. I'm flying on the company nickel to Paris and Prague and London and Maui and New Orleans and first-class hotels and lavish hospitality suites and stuffed mushrooms, bacon-wrapped shrimp, all the booze you can drink. It's like, And speaking of this redhead, she has that gorgeous Nicole Kidman complexion, you know, that strawberries and cream complexion that just gets all red and flushed when she's like aroused. It's like, whoa, oh. Here Mohanty, following Spivak and Clover, explodes linear sequentiality to enact the decentering of the subject and its discourses, interpolating readers as complicit in the logos of conjunction and disjunction, in the habitus of subalternality. Did you hear that name I just dropped? That was Clover, Chantal Clover, Belgian cultural theorists. I've been on panels with her. A complete dingbat. I mean, completely daffy. And oh God, how that woman stinks. I mean, you get near her and you're thinking, rotten chicken carcasses drenched in right guard. It's, oh. Like, if her name was Betty Rabinowitz, she'd be bussing tables at the Denny's in Milpitas somewhere. But they just love to say names like that. It's like, according to Chantal Clover and Jean-Luc Baudrillard and Jacques Lacan and Hélène César. They love saying names like that. And they never see the irony either. It's like all these deeply committed anti-Eurocentrists creaming their jeans over one confused frog after another. They never see that. Speaking of creaming your jeans, every time she moves those legs around, I see about 4 new places I really need to put my face. And whoa! Dare I try to cut her from the herd at the reception and bring her back to the hotel for a little one-on-one tutorial? The question answers itself, and now I hasten to finish. And so, in sum, a liberatory eco-composition practices writing with the rabid duck of the subconscious oscillating between the right to remain silent and the need to confess, leading to learning that touches the student's dream navel and sets the symbolic order of dancing. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I wish you good luck in using anything I've said tonight for making better syllabi and lesson plans. Thank you very much.